reading through. This is the last interview you'll ever see in Gothenburg.
Your band is soon splitting up. How did you came to the decision?
I'll take this one. I guess, over a long period of time, the band has gone through a lot of changes, and we've all, as you start a band, you kind of like start a band to avoid responsibility, and then all of a sudden you get older and you have responsibilities, and yet you still want to do the band. Sometimes other things in life kind of happen, families and jobs and things like that. And it's not like the band's going to totally split up. Like, I could see some kind of work coming from the band. It's just a lot of the travel and stuff like that for some people is more difficult than others,
Yeah.
So I think that's the safest answer I can give you right now.
So
We've kind of just always had this all or nothing kind of thing. Like, we would tour full time, 10 months a year straight, and come home, record a record. And it's gotten to the point, like he said, with responsibilities. We have families and jobs to think about and things like that. And it's we can't commit that much to the band anymore, and it's kind of hard to try to balance it and do both, But
Yeah.
we figured after 14 years that it's we've kind of seen it run its course, but we try to do one big last tour
And even the
to
singer
celebrate it,
Yeah, and even the singer said today, like, we could do a record too, but just maybe, traveling and
We're
stuff
still
like
all
that is-
good friends. There's not like a we're not breaking up over like a fight or anything. It's more just the business of it and the time it takes to do a band.
Everyone has made this band their priority for the entire existence of the band. And it kind of takes a toll in a way on your personal life. Not really in a bad way, just you don't have time for personal things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, we did a lot with the band, and now it's kind of time to take a break and do a lot for ourselves.
Yeah.
And people have businesses and jobs and families, and it's kind of nice to not have to think about leaving for a while and just kind of do our own thing for a bit, and who knows what happens in the future.
Yeah. So how does it feel not being able to tour together?
Oh, I guess it's bittersweet kind of,
Then
Especially for me. I mean, I've been away from this whole thing for like 6 years now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was more than happy to do it, but it's like, I wish I could do a little bit more.
Yeah. The band have many lineup changes and stuff. Why did you like that?
Want it?
We've had an issue with guitar players for a little while because we have Brian, our other guitar player, who is technically in the band and he doesn't tour. So we've always had to have like fill-ins come in and play for
Brian
him.
Brian
gets to stay
has
home.
his cake and eats it too.
Brian stays home and writes records with us and things like that. But so it's hard. So we'd always go on the road and we'd have to hire people. So we'd have like Patrick from Demon Hunter or Mick from Anal Nathrak playing for us, or another guy, Manny from Impending Doom. We have these guys that would just kind of cycle in and out and come to play tours. They weren't really members of the band.
And when Jonah left, I replaced Jonah.
Yeah. I heard earlier that this band have been influenced by Swedish metal bands. Have you listened much to Swedish music before?
Talking about that one.
I still do occasionally listen to some Swedish bands, you know what I mean? Like, but now it's not like the traditional Gothenburg sound like we were like heavily influenced by. Now it's more like Dysphere, like just my music tastes have changed over the years a little bit. But yeah, like in the beginning, At the Gates, The Haunted, a lot of those bands were like huge influences on us and what we were doing. Yeah.
In the early days too, it was like we came from a hardcore scene, and we kind of discovered all those bands at the time. We were listening to At the Gates and, like he said, The Haunted, Soilwork, and then also to all the Norwegian kind of black metal stuff. And we were like introducing it to like all these hardcore kids in Orange County, and it was kind of a cool time. But yeah, definitely influenced by the Swedish, Norwegian kind of metal. melodic death metal and black metal and things like that.
Yeah. What do you call your sound? Because I heard both melodic death metal, hardcore, everything.
I mean, I think our sound is, for the most part, our sound is metal. I mean, we're a, you know, death metal and hardcore and things like that. But really, like, on a personal level, like, we are like all across the board.
It's hard for us to label it.
It's hard to pin it down, really.
We, you know, like, you know, if you're in a band, I guess you don't really want to be defined by any kind of label because you're influenced by so much, and it all works off of everybody being different influences, like he said.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us to pinpoint it. You know, there's safer probably versions of like, or people probably say things, and we might say that doesn't suck as bad as what this one's is. You know,
everyone in the band has such huge different tastes. And
Yeah.
you know. He's like Neil Diamond and Lady Gaga and like all that stuff, and then there's like Pantera and Metallica, and then there's people, you know, and then Marta listens to like ballet music, and then so trying to pin it down now, especially with so many member changes and so many musical tastes, we just kind of collaborate.
I think we've also been, it's kind of cool too, like our music is, it can't really be pinned down as one specific thing, so because of that we've gotten to tour with a lot of different types of bands, you know, like in the same year we tour with like Slayer and then go on tour with Him or something like that. It's completely different. Or we've done tours with bands like AFI and, you know, more punk kind of tours.
Fail, even
like we've always been able to kind of jump around and play different kinds of shows.
Yeah.
And, like before this tour, we just did a show with Tiger Army at home, which is totally like off the wall for anybody really, but like it works. Somehow it's always worked for us.
What bands are the most fun to play with?
Most fun to play with?
Yeah.
Friends, bands.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the like original Orange County bands that we grew up with, when we were doing a lot of tours with mainly them, it was kind of like we all knew each other personally.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of jokes that go around, but I mean we've met so many bands and toured with so many bands now that it's like we're so easy to get along with that it's funny stuff happens with every band. We get along with everyone. It's kind of hard to like pinpoint exactly what bands are the funnest.
It's good to have people that we can hang out with, and it's like to have friends on the road with us. And I think kind of like a best of both worlds scenario was actually a Swedish band we played with, Cult of Luna, years ago.
Man.
And for one, they're an incredible band to see play, really, really good band. But at the same time, they were really cool and good to hang out with, and we just had a blast like hanging with those guys. I mean, that was years ago, but I think that's kind of like, you get that best of both worlds, like a great band that's all cool to be hanging out with and fun and stuff, and then it just makes it that much, it just makes it easy.
Yeah. What are your all-time favorite bands?
I like, you know, Van Halen and like, you know, I'm a little older. So I don't know. I don't think that really matters. I like Van Halen and like stuff that was like 80s rock, blues music, stuff like that.
And I go from like old punk rock music, Black Flag, Descendants, Dead Kennedy stuff to Pantera, Metallica, and like your basic like big metal bands like all over the board. But those would be probably heavier metal and punk rock stuff is my personal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like in the same boat with Brian. You know, like old, like Minor Threat, Misfits, and it, you know, it ranges all over the place to, say, like Dimmu Borgir or, you know, Cryptopsy, Suffocation, and then, like, that's not even the half of it. There's so many bands that I just, like, there's a band called Murder by Death that's, it almost sounds very spaghetti western, kind of like a little bit of rockabilly too. And, you know, I'm sure people would listen to Bleeding Through and never think in a million years I listen to that, you know, and they're probably my favorite band right now.
Yeah.
I'd say bands like Integrity or Unbroken, some of the older U.S. hardcore kind of hardcore metal crossover kind of bands. That's kind of when I started getting into this sort of thing, and those have always been my favorites. Bands like that. But I think too, us as a band, at least I've noticed this when I compare us to other bands. Like we're really like, we just love music. I think it's safe to say we love music and we listen to all kinds of stuff. You know? I mean, if it's good, we listen to it. You know, it doesn't have to be metal or whatever. You know, we can listen to You name it.
Yeah. Do you guys remember your first concert you ever went to?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was life changing, honestly. Like I think it was like MOD. Yeah, it was MOD in 1989. It's some dumpy little club, and it was just chaos. You know what I mean? I was really young, and to see like something that aggressive, like wow, this is awesome. You know, I knew right then, like yeah, this is what I need to do. I fit in.
I think one of the bigger shows, the first show that I really remember was when I was in 7th grade. Descendants put out the Everything Sucks record, and they played with Suicide Machines at what's on Sunset? Is that Palladium? The big venue on Sunset?
Yeah.
At the Palladium. And I had to lie to my parents that one of my friend's parents was going to go and stay there. And later on they found out that we just got dropped off and got in trouble. It was totally worth it. But I remember it like it was yesterday. A lot of fun.
Mine, Stevie Ray Vaughan was the first concert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a neighbor who was like,
It was like Woodstock or something.
my neighbor was just like, I'm gonna take you to this and you're gonna thank me for it, kind of.
Yeah.
And it was totally life changing. Yeah, I mean
If you
before.
like a coffee, then you have to come in there.
Okay, I'll come in as soon as I'm done.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You want an interview?
Oh, okay.
You
Sorry.
can come in.
Right.
No, come on.
No.
Join us.
Yeah, but yeah, it was life changing. Neighbor told me.
What was your first concert
What was your-
ever?
Ever?
Yeah.
Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Scandinavian. No, in Stockholm. That's the
There you
first
go.
one.
Aqualung tour?
I think I was 13 years. It was a big adventure.
That's so cool.
Ian Hunter is cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is cool.
Yeah, it's all beat.
How many people you left?
But my best concert was Miles Davis at in Pompeii,
There you go.
Oh.
in the old cathedral. No cathedral, the old
See, that's
The best.
filmar.
the best. The best is tonight.
Might be the best.
I'll leave you here.
Nice.
I think I didn't go to like concerts per se until later on in life. Really, I think my first time seeing live music was like a local hardcore show, and probably seeing one of Scott's bands. But you know, I was like 12, 13, and I just remember walking in there and seeing like the people there and like being kind of terrified of what was going on, because I mean, really, like it's kind of gnarly for like a 12-year-old kid to walk into a hardcore show back then. But I kind of fell in love with it, and I said like, you know, I want to do this. You know, I want to be one of these guys. You know.
I think you might be right, because I remember you telling me a story about.
See No Way Out.
I remember you telling me a story about how you went to. Remember Javier and CC in Grand Terrace?
I played there. I played at his house.
That's right. It's your first show you played, and like,
Javier's
you know,
garage.
that whole fight thing went down. And
Yeah,
you
like,
got hit with a bike
Things were crazy, man. It wasn't like going to like a show nowadays. Like, I literally one of my first show experiences was like a hardcore show in a dude's garage, and like there were skinheads beating his shit out of each other outside, and a guy got ran over with a car and stuff. And like I'm like 12.
It was like, dude,
whoa.
Oh, that's great.
But at the same time, like the music was so special and so powerful to me, even though it was just like 20 dudes in a garage.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun.
Yeah. Do you have any hobbies besides music?
Oh man. Everyone's got hobbies. Me personally, I do a lot of painting and airbrushing and pinstriping. I like to go hunting. I like to go fishing. Shoot, motorcycles. I don't know. I guess I go to school for welding, but I also consider it a hobby. I enjoy it. All sorts of shit. But, I mean, it's like endless. And then music is also a hobby as well. You know.
I like fish tanks. That's my thing. I'm down with fish tanks.
minus the ick.
Minus the problems with fish tanks. I like fish tanks. All I do is think about guitar 24/7.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse. And so I have to think of other things, so I stare at fish. That's just the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I have a kid. I mean, I know Dave does too, but like, you know, the first years, you don't have time for hobbies.
Time for anything.
But you know, I love doing it though. I mean, like my kid is like my best friend. You know, we hang out all the time. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't care that I don't have a hobby, dude. She's more than enough.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like to cook when I'm home. I cook a lot. I have kids too, so a lot of my time is spent, just hanging out with my kids and doing things with them. I don't know, just bizarre stuff, kind of projects. I'm a machinist and a welder too, so I'll do some stuff. And me and my wife are actually into like Danish and Swedish modern, like 60s modern furniture kind of stuff, restoration and things like that. So we're starting to get into that. I have a friend who has a store. I'm gonna reupholster a couch when I get home.
Yeah. So what will you do when you coming home from the last show?
Well, we only have, let's see, me personally, for my hobby for painting and motorcycle stuff, there's the biggest motorcycle show in Southern California is in the end of June. So I have to prepare for that. I have a big booth that I set up and I have to do more artwork. Other than that, I'm going to finish the semester of school. Actually, I'm missing some classes to do this tour. So I'll finish school, I'll work my regular job, and then prepare for that show. And then we leave in like another month and a half, 2 months to go to Australia. Australia. So just kind of go back to normal life and do some painting and get ready for the next, we'll have a couple practices, go over songs, and kind of prepare for like the next Australia, since these two we're not done yet. We have kind of a bit to do before we're done, so we're still kind of in preparation of getting all the other tours finished.
I teach guitar, so
Yeah.
I do a lot of that, Skype lessons and stuff.
Oh.
Hit me up on Skype. I do that, and I'm gonna make an attempt at a solo record.
Yeah.
And hell else? I was gonna do something else.
More fish.
More fish.
More
stuff.
fish.
Saltwater tank.
Tackle saltwater.
Yeah.
Some coral. Get down some coral.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with me, it's like I'm always doing something with music. So, in fact, before leaving for this, I was in the middle of recording with this new band that I'm doing. So when I get home, I'll probably do that. Like just finish up recording the songs that we're writing, and then just back to life as usual. Like just hang out with my kid, going to work, and enjoy some quiet time before we head out again.
Yeah, probably about the same. I'm just gonna go home and go back to work and wait for that Australian thing to happen.
Yeah.
Hang out with my family.
What have been the best thing about this whole journey with this band?
Travel. I've seen places I never ever thought I'd go. I've been to places that I didn't even know existed. I knew they existed, but I never in a million years thought that I would go there. I had no interest in. There were so many places that I wanted to go before that I go there that I thought I would run out of time, and got to travel there for free and play music and travel all over Europe, which I never thought I'd do, and go to Australia. Never thought I'd be there, and it's like one of my all-time favorite places to go. And we've been there a handful of times, and it constantly blows my mind how many places I've been in the world. And when I come home and I talk to family and I talk to friends, and some of my friends haven't even left the state of California, and they've never traveled anywhere, and it kind of blows my mind when I look at a map. I used to have a map on my wall with pins in every state, city, and country that I've been, and it's just covered, and it just blows my mind still to this day.
Well, it's one thing that people might not understand is like at this level where you're kind of, you can call it what it is, mid-level success, whatever. Who cares? You look at it that way, But when you put whatever you put into it, you get out of it, kind of level, right? I guess you should say. You really get a chance to see more places than bigger bands do.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're on a label where you sell a shitload of records, and you have to deal with that kind of machine, you don't necessarily come to places like Gothenburg all the time. You know what I mean? Like local shows coming through. So we're pretty lucky to be. You actually can have a longer career doing it this way than you can doing it that way.
Yeah.
You sell a lot of records, you're kind of fucked. But if you just keep working hard at it and earning the respect of people and try to make your content good, you can have a long career.
Yeah, it's true. If you're in some major, big, famous band, like you can't, like we just took a walk. We just went downtown and like walked around, and like you can't do that if you're freaking, you know, in Metallica or something. Like you'll get trampled by people or something. You know. So we get to go out and like see the sights and do things like that. You know.
For just as long, as of a time as they have. If we kept at it, it's whatever it is.
I mean, I guess going back off the original question, for me, one of the coolest things about the whole journey of this is just having that outlet there, you know what I mean, and a feeling of accomplishing something with it too, you know, I mean, it's something that I love doing. And to see other people relate to that, you know what I mean, and it means something to them, like it's a really awesome feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. What will you miss the most with Bleeding Through?
All the same above. What we
It's just kind of, it's been my life for 11 years now, 11 years, and that's all that it was. Like, I mean, we had plenty of time to do things, not plenty of time, but we had enough time to be home, and when we were home, we didn't work because touring was our job. So when we were home, we got to just kind of do whatever we wanted, and I'd go to the beach a lot and go surfing and hang out with my friends, go on motorcycle trips. But for the most part, the band was all that we thought about all the time, and all we would be thinking about if we were in the process of writing a record, all we were thinking about was songs and studio. If we were on tour, we were just thinking about where we were on tour, what we were going to do, and it was just constantly bleeding through this, bleeding through, and it's kind of like now that when all the tours are really done and Bleeding Through has no other engagements, no other tours booked, and it's literally, well, alright, we're done until we decide to make plans again someday in the future. It'd be really odd to just wake up the next day and just be like, wow, I could literally pack up my gear and put it away, and I have no clue when I'm going to need to use it again. It'd be kind of weird to, convert that into being a normal person and not touring.
Yeah.
But, all of us are still going to do music and stuff, but it'll be kind of weird. Part of me will miss the, like, wow, I leave in 2 weeks for Europe again.
Yeah.
Or, even if you're really tired and you want to be home, you're still kind of excited that you have a lot of touring to come.
Yeah.
It's just, it's an odd transition, and it'll be missed, but.
I'll be miss playing this style of music. I don't think
Yeah.
I'll play this style of music ever again.
Yeah.
I'll probably, be some fusion jazz after.
But now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And what do you want to say? The last words.
Thanks. Thank you for supporting us over 14 years.
Yeah.
And
Thanks. Glad to be a part of it.
how many records? 7 records? I mean, it's like shit, man. Like, never thought in a million years that I would go this far with the band. And literally, when you're this size of band, as Dave said, like mid-level, like you cannot do it without people supporting you. So we can't tour if people don't come. So thank you.
Yeah. And could we do an intro to it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just say your band name and stuff, and maybe if this are their last interview.
Yeah. Bleeding Through. This is the last